up, everybody? Welcome to the IAG Thursday Thing, this thing that we do every Thursday, even when we got lots of crazy stuff going on. We're in the midst of the IAG tax sale going on right now, and it is nuts. Lots of phone calls, selling a whole lot of stuff, stupid deals. It's wild. It's wild. I'm not gonna lie. I am joined this week by my partner in crime. Almost my ride or die warranty. How you doing,
Hello,
bud?
sir. I am your ride or die. What are you talking about?
I love having there where
things are awful.
Well, you didn't move down here, did you? You didn't move down here, did you? No, you decided to go move into Chicago.
It's closer. It's just like 30 minutes closer.
We literally went polar opposite directions. I moved in the middle of nowhere, and you moved into the middle of everything.
I'm not going to move into your house. You already got a wife. You got a wife and kids. There's no space.
Yeah, they're all gone. Wife's doing career stuff. Kids are kids. I got a great spot here. It would have been awesome.
Yeah, you do. You got that extra land in the back that you picked up. Life is good.
Yeah. Good things are going on. But either way, that's a whole different part of life. Stuff's been nuts. Stuff's been real nuts. And we had plans for a fairly epic show today. And unfortunately, they fell through. I don't want to give up too much on that in case it falls through again or whatever the situation, or said person doesn't want to talk about it, but I really hope they do because it's going to be a juicy one. But then that fell through, so we needed to have a conversation about something else, and you came up with a really great idea, and that was, let's talk about... if you're in a position where you just bought a Subaru, a lot of people are like, man, where do I start? Where do I start? Where do we go? You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's going to be the conversation after we get through topic number A, which is there was a video that was posted this week that kind of stuck in my craw a bit. And it basically, it was saying in I don't want to say the nicest way possible, but it wasn't, but basically saying that the AOS isn't a fix for anything. It's basically a Band-Aid, which I can't even 100% disagree with that. I can't. Okay. But then went on to say that the only answer basically is get a Drysump. So basically anybody who's ever going to take their car to a track needs a Drysump. And I do not really agree with that. And this is coming from a guy who has a Drysump. So first off, let's talk about that conversation real quick and how maybe an AOS is a Band-Aid. To go back
Hold on.
Yeah.
AOS is a simple piece of equipment, and a Drysump is not. And they are not the same thing. They are not comparable. So what is an AOS?
Yeah.
And then what is a Drysump? And then we go from there.
Okay. Yeah. First, we have to explain what the Drysump's actual goal is. Okay. So, long story short, the PCV system in an EJ and honestly in most flat engines is kind of trash, at least Subaru engines.
Positive crankcase ventilation. What does it do?
Okay, long story short, if you want to have your crankcase under some form of vacuum, it's gonna function the best, and you're gonna have oil vapors and things down there. There's gonna be pressure that gets around the rings, things like that. They
need to get removed.
They have to get removed. Well, with that, it's going to carry some oil vapor with it because, well, it's your crankcase, and that's all oily bits in there. Okay, and I'm going to simplify this to quite a bit, but either way, I want this to stay fairly low level, but we need to make an understanding of this. Long story short, how Subaru is normally set up when you get it from the factory. That crankcase vented air would go straight into your inlet. Your inlet would then suck it in through the turbo. And then that would mix with your fuel. And then your engine would burn it. Okay? So there are downsides to this. One, the older your engine gets, the more blow by you're going to get, the more oil that's going to be in there. Okay. When you first get a brand new Subaru engine, they're no matter what, the PCV sucks, and you're going to get a little bit of this. But you get some higher mileage ones, 100,000 miles, stuff's loosened up a little bit. It's going to be even worse. But talk about is oil consumption, and one of the nice things this does is, since you're not burning that oil, you're retaining some of it. Okay, and it goes back since it's not mixing. The whole concept is to pull air and condensation out of the oil, due to our AOS being heated. It can do that, and through its design, so that oil then goes back into your system, and you're not losing the same percentage of oil. There's always going to be a little bit that gets by, so I don't want to say 100%, but it helps quite a bit. Okay, so you're going to keep more oil in your system, so you're not having to fill up as much between oil changes. The next big, and this is actually kind of the big one, is anytime you put oil within your air fuel mixture, okay, you effectively lower the octane. And again, a lot of people still think octane means like it burns better, it has more explosive property or something like that. Octane essentially means resistance to going off at the wrong time. And when you lower your octane, it starts losing that resistance. So you run into situations where the fuel will ignite at the wrong time. That is what we refer to as detonation or knock bad things. Okay, that's how you knock out ringlands. That's how you flat side bearings. It's ugly. That's the big thing you're trying to prevent. Keep as much oil out of your intake and your air fuel mixture going into your combustion chamber as you possibly can. Another thing that it does help with is the 15 plus WRXs, or direct injection engines that do not have port injection. They have a really hard time cleaning off the back of their valves. And the less oil you have in there, the less you're gumming up the back of your valves. So, is this system perfect? No. The engine's not perfect. We are dealing with issues here, okay? And all of us who are in this chat have probably dealt with a Subaru issue or two in our days. But and even to a degree, it's treating the symptom and not treating the cause. But the cause is something you can't really fix. This is the thing that kind of aggravates me. To be taken into account. The very first thing you should do if it makes any form of creak or pop is you need to order up that Humble Rumble kit. That is the cheapest way to fix this problem. Okay, the other way to do this is how we started doing it way back in the day, and it's rip your entire dashboard out and weld it. So, the Humble Rumble kit is great. We're actually going to try to start carrying these on the site. What that essentially does is give you an easier way to bolt the firewall back together. Subaru just used these chintzy little spot welds to hold the pedal box in place, where that pivoting motion actually happens with the clutch. And since the firewall flexes a bunch and those spot welds get moved around a lot, it basically tears the spot welds out. It'll start as a squeak, then it'll start as a pop, and then it'll go away for a little while, and then it'll squeak, then it'll pop, and then your pedal falls on the floor. Kinda. It just kind of hangs there, and it's super sketchy, and it's honestly flat out dangerous. I'm kind of surprised they didn't do some form of. They even tried to say that it was only the early cars. It's all GR chassis. It is anything 08 to 14, WRX or STI. It's all of them. It is made worse by upgraded clutches, but it's a real problem. One thing that I've always noticed too is the older the STI clutch gets, the heavier it seems to get, which sucks because that means you have a already worked firewall that is getting worse and worse due to the clutch being heavier and heavier. So, yeah, it is a problem. The Humble Rumble kit works really well. I haven't seen a kit that does a better job for the money. It is a little bit of work to do. You can have a shop do it. You can do it in your driveway. It's not like it's hard. It's just time consuming. But again, can't stress enough. Humble Rumble kit for the GR chassis. And you need to you need to check that inlet. And if you're worried about it, just get a damn aftermarket inlet. There's another big one too. The 08 to 14 WRX. It's basically a 100% failure rate for their intercooler to throttle body hose. They all fail. Are awful for it. Go get yourself an aftermarket silicone one. Never got to worry about it again. The stock intercoolers, because they have plastic end tanks and they're kind of junk, they like to fail a lot. And the stock bypass valves, the plastic ones, like to fail a lot. These are all things you might want to try to get knocked out before you get that tune. So if you get the inlet, I would look at everything from your turbo to your throttle body, and make sure that's all solid. Maybe look into some aftermarket options for that. If you ever have questions, I'm an easy guy to find. You got a million other vendors out there who can help you out. Go to your local Subarus shop, blow Smeedy up in his YouTube channel, whatever you got to do. Okay, whatever you got to do, he'll give you some options. Don't overthink it. Just those are things that go ugly real quick. If you plan on adding any power, something I probably should have said with the STI fairly quickly and didn't. One of the other first modifications you need to do is, if you don't know if it has a fuel pump or not, get a damn fuel pump. All right. The 04 to 07 STIs are really bad for it too. The fuel pump is barely enough stock to keep up, even with the stock injectors, to keep up with a stock turbo. You can throw a fuel pump in and it will not affect the tune in any way. Just throw a fuel pump in. It's $120 for a drop-in AEM or something. You're better off. 11 plus WRXs also have VF52. So basically, if you have a VF turbo, if you just get an aftermarket fuel pump, don't screw around with that. Other than that, the GRs are pretty. They're not awful. There's some bushings in the rear that help out a lot. The diff. Yeah, what do they call that? It's like the positive response kit or something. PSR, I don't know. Either way, Whiteline made a kit that had a whole bunch of bushings in it that I was a big fan of. That kit worked out real well for a lot of people. So if you want to get the ass of those cars to not feel so legacy, that's a good way to do it. Another solid modification. A lot of people when we go into the VA, if you've ever driven a GR and a VA near each other, you'll immediately notice, and given both cars are stock, the VA feels much more direct. But there are two things that they did to the VA that really changed the way that feels. One of them is a quicker steering rack, which, if you have an 08 to 14 WRX and STI, it's really close to a direct bolt-in. Highly recommend that. It's a fantastic modification. Okay. The other thing they did was a really fat front sway bar. The VAs came with a 24 mil front sway bar. Doing a front sway bar in a GR Subaru will immediately make that thing feel more direct. I think that's one of those situations where Mr. Halko would probably chime in and say, yeah, that's no bullshit. And Mr. Halko would know a thing or two about that, because Mr. Halko's won a championship or 3. Yeah, it does have like a really teeny rear sway bar, but doing a front's going to help. Oh, yeah. Well, if you're in there, once again, let's talk about that too. a lot of these cars are getting older, and while you're in their situation, is you're going to have ball joints and tie rods that tend to be an issue. Now, you start getting into the GR, people start having their opinions on this, but I've had some really, really good luck using the white line roll center adjustment kit. Okay, and if you're going to be replacing the stock stuff because it's older in hell anyway, roll center adjustment kit might not be a bad idea. Now, with that stated, I don't think you should be doing that if you're going to be going super low. If the plans are to be going really, really low, especially for track use, there's probably some more aftermarket stuff you should look into. People have had some failures recently with the ball joints. I've never had that. Smeedy also just brought up Super Pro, another great option. I'm not going to lie, I have heard that White Line and Super Pro are coming out of the same factory for a lot of stuff like that. That's why I don't like... Yeah. I don't really think it's aiming higher or lower when you're comparing those two. One thing I will say is through Super Pro, you can actually order the entire front control arm with all the bushings on it already, which I thought was pretty cool. White line anti-roll works fine with OEM ball joints. Well, there you go. Either way, there's a lot of while you're in there. I would recommend, checking around if you got to replace something to see if there's an aftermarket option that makes sense. For street use, for the most part, polyurethane's fine. I don't recommend going to solid mounts or like a spherical bushing, unless you kind of know what you're getting into. You can add a whole lot of NVH and some kind of ugly wear characteristics in a real hurry if you start replacing everything with spherical. Like Josh Aldrich just said in the chat, stay away from spherical if it sees rain or snow. There are some like sealed spherical stuff that may work, but I agree. I'm all for spherical, all the things, but I'm big on the race car stuff. So it's crazy how much that'll change. Other options you may want to think about, since these cars are starting to get a little older, is replacing engine mounts. Now, this is another thing. Engine mounts, pitch stop mount, trans mount. This is another thing, though, that you got to watch out. I'm going to use our IAG street bushings as an example. The NVH is going to go up a little bit, but not much. But they're going to be significantly stiffer than stock. Great for street use, occasional track use. Okay, but if you're doing anything crazy, that's not going to be enough. A lot of people jump right to the competition ones, which are the red ones, and they don't realize how much NVH that's going to add. And it's a lot. You'll start the car, and at certain RPMs, it'll buzz the car. It can be pretty rowdy. And then we have the totally solid ones. And I've had people with bone stock cars be like, "Oh yeah, I want those solid bushings." I'm like, "Really?" Like, they're awful. Okay, but for a race car, they're great. But you don't care if the thing is shaking yourself to death. But you really got to think about NVH with a lot of this stuff. But I will say that, some of the OEM Subaru stuff at times can be a little subpar. And the aftermarket, years and years and years, have fixed a lot of things. And there are better options. So, look into it. Now we're going on to the VA. Now, we're going to talk about the VA STI is really close, other than the firewall issues, to the GR. It's an improved GR. Okay, it really is. The interiors are a lot nicer, things of that nature. Check the inlet, but at this point, I'm not freaking out about the inlet. What you're looking for is more mods that are goofy. So more than likely, one of the very first things you're going to do with that car is stick an AOS on it. Past that, you need to decide what you want to do with the car. I can tell you the factory tunes are kind of junk on those. Go get yourself a tune. Okay, so a Cobb Access Sport should be one of the very first things you pick up. See the comment above. No, I don't want to see that. I can't read that. That would get me in trouble. So we're not going to read that. The things that show up in the chat, you kids are naughty. Oh, don't buy twice, plan mods. I agree. We're going to talk about that at the end of all this. Okay, but the VA STI is pretty straightforward. Again, some of these cars are starting to get some age and some mileage on them. Check the same stuff that we have talked about. Some other small things that you could do. It worked really great on Warranty's car, and I was a huge fan of it. Is it's got a really big front sway bar. Tires are a great first modification, and then adding a matching rear sway bar does go a long way to making the car more entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Plus, the anti-lift kit was pretty nice too, to get a little more turn-in bite.
Mm-hmm. Those are all things that when you start digging into stuff, if you're going to replace it, maybe take a look at the aftermarket to see if there's something that can help out. Like that was a great one. I totally missed it. Early GR WRXs and STIs all had that big dumb rubber bushing in the rear. In 2010 special edition and then 2011 on STIs, it was all fixed. They kind of replaced it with a much nicer bushing / spherical bearing kind of thing. But the front control arm, inner rear bushing, it's a big round thing. Those things love to tear out. They're complete trash in the early STIs and basically all of the GRWXs. An anti-lift kit is a very good fix for that. Not only is the car going to turn in better because it's going to add a little extra caster to it, but it's going to get rid of that bushing ripping out. So, that's another great one too. Now going on to the 15 WRX, 15 to 21 WRX. This one's a little different because now we went over to the FA engine. There's a few different things you're going to want to do with this. I'm going to tell you the very first one that you're going to immediately feel if you're going to modify this car in any way is, for God's sakes, get a tune. Get a damn tune. It is unreal. If there is one vehicle that it makes more of a difference from sticking a basic Cobb tune on versus, and I'm talking if the car is bone stock, just go get an Access Sport and get a tune. You will immediately notice it in just throttle response. The car is so much more enjoyable to drive. It gets rid of the throttle hang issue. Like, it is so much better. And I'm talking Stage 0 basic bitch, straight off Cobb's website. Pay no extra money. Do not pass go. Don't pay anybody an extra $200. Just basic tune. Throw it on there. You will immediately notice that. Most of these cars are out of warranty. You don't have to think about any of that anymore. Okay? Go do that. It's going to be more reliable. It's going to drive better. It will get better gas mileage. It'll be a little bit faster. Can't stress it enough. Unreal. Unreal. Next thing you want to do is you want to get an AOS. Now, if this car has some mileage on it and it doesn't have an AOS or any modifications done to it, just some basic bolt-on stuff for those cars, you pick up a pile of power. But right out of the gate, I need to do stuff right now, mods. Can't stress enough. Do the damn tune. Like, where do I start? I can tell you, buy an Access Sport. It's great. So, I don't think everybody needs AO52s, my dude. Now let's go on to the new 22 WRX. It's kind of like the VA, except you got a warranty, so you got to think about this. If you're trying to keep your warranty, don't touch the damn car. I'm just going to be real. Maybe do some cosmetic stuff, wheels, suspension. Avoid doing anything with the engine that's going to get you into trouble. If you're not worried about that, just a tune will pick you up a boatload of power on those things. Can't stress it enough. Tune and an AOS right out of the gate. Just for the keeping the oil off of the back of the valves, the AOS helps a ton with that, and then running the right type of oil helps. So, like somebody said earlier in the chat, for the DIT engines, every 35 to 40,000 miles is when you need to walnut blast it. You literally, if you're running the correct oil and you have an AOS, you can double or triple that amount. Now, there's some tricks to keeping those things clean too, and some of it has to do with the Italian tune-up. You need to get some heat into those engines. You get some heat into it, the more you do that, the less that shit's going to gum up. A lot of that gumming is coming from creeping along. What head unit do you get? What front lip and what oil? Get some O-Tool, my guy. Front lip, don't care. Do not care. You let me know what front lip you want. But that's... Can't stress it again. AOS is going to help with that, and it's going to keep that car living for a very long time. BRZ. Man. This one's tough. So if we're talking 13, like early FA20 BRZs and FRSs and whatever. Well, you're kind of, it really is going to depend what you're using this car for. Okay. You can throw a whole lot of modifications at this thing and it's not going to pick up a ton of horsepower, but it's going to be a lot of fun to drive. My recommended first modification for these cars is a set of tires. Okay. Now don't get me wrong. Sliding around on Prius tires is a good time. Okay. But you're going nowhere fast and you're not really taking advantage of what makes that car so good, which is its ridiculously good chassis. Past that, if you do an intake, a catback, and a tune, it's going to make the car a little bit quicker. The throttle response will be better. And it's going to make some fun noises. Okay? So it's going to make some fun noises, and it will add to your driving experience. Okay? You're still not going to be fast, but you can have fun with it if you're bombing around on back roads, stuff like that. That may be all you ever want to do to that car. You know, a set of wheels and tires, and a set of wheels and tires, a catback, an intake, and a tune. Now, if you're to do that same approach to modifications to the new FA24, you gain... That car already starts with a bunch more horsepower, and you gain about the exact same amount. So you can basically make about 230 wheel without trying too hard on that. Those cars are fantastic. My recommendation for that is immediately get an intake, a catback, and a tune, and you'll end up at somewhere between 220 and 230 wheel. Then do some basic suspension, wheel tire combo, and just put some good oil in it, overfill by a quart, and head to your first track day. Okay? Enjoy your first track day, and here soon Varus will have that pan out, and buy that the second it hits.
Yep.
The second that pan comes out, buy it. Buy it right now. Yes, VBWX, my time to shine. Yes, your VBWX is phenomenal. Like I said, you do some basic bolt-ons for a 22 plus WX. They make stupid power. Guys have been making, with basic bolt-ons, 400 wheel with those. It's incredible. Honestly, I would love to do a FA24 DIT swap in a GC. It would be so good. I honestly, it'd be a weapon in street class. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Josh. An absolute weapon in street class. And I'm just be a ton of fun. FA24, yeah, I want to know what that's about. Smedia made 384.15 on my old tune, J-pipe intake, intercooler E30. Thing picked up stupid power easy. They're so detuned. It really bums me out because I really would have liked to see what the STI version of that engine would have been. You know, maybe a little more of a cam, you know, a slightly larger turbo, Just some small changes, and oh my god, it would have been so good. That it would have been nuts with a proper STI based 6-speed with 3 diffs. Just done. What could have been? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That's kind of about it. There's some oddballs out there. If you have a legacy GT, inlet AOS, same situation. Basically look at the same year Impreza, and you'll get kind of the same answer. But if you haven't noticed, there's been kind of a theme. Check your damn inlets, people, because vacuum leaks kill engines. Get an AOS, even though it's a quote-unquote Band-Aid, it could save your ass. And I'll see you when that engine pops, and then we'll take care of the rest of it. That's what's up.
So it's do routine maintenance until you don't have any more to do, and then put a tune on it and go to track day. That's about it.
Yeah, go have fun with your car. You don't even gotta go to track day. Go find a fun road. Drive at a semi-reasonable speed and just enjoy driving. Go see some back roads. Go do some stuff. Go to a meet. Go to a damn car meet. When's the last time have you been in a car meet?
That's a great idea.
Go to a car meet. Go talk to some people. First track day this year. Oh, man, I'm so jealous. Smeedy is talking about his first track day this year. I don't think mine's going to be till the first Gingerman event. And hopefully I'm not busting rust off too bad. Roll racing and drag racing. I mean, at least you're going to the track and doing something. It ain't a proper... Man, we got to get you to a Grid Life event. You and I'd have such a good time at a Grid Life event. I'm serious, man. I'm going to throw this offer to you. I would love you to come to a Grid Life event. You can crash in my RV with me. Okay? I will do whatever I can to get you in. I might even be able to get you in as media. That's funny.
Media. Get him in as Smedia.
I'll get you in as Smedia. And dude, just come on. I want you to come out and hang out. I want you to come to Grid Life Midwest, and I want you to hang. Okay? I really want you to hang. Well, I'm dead serious. I want you to do this. Getting on track is going to be a little harder, especially for Grid Life Midwest, but I can at least get you in and hanging. And it would be dirt cheap for you to be there. And I think you'd have a riot. And I want to show you how the other side lives, my dude. So, yeah. Is there anything new in the warranty life?
Tinder has been blowing up, so...
My boy!
all these stereotypes of Chicago are true, which is there's just a lot of pretty ladies out there, and they all want to meet me because I'm tall and handsome and have a good job.
Tall.
And
You're
lots
tall.
Of friends.
Make sure you said tall first. Tall.
Oh, yeah.
Tall really matters.
God, it's a cheat code. I'm sorry, but
it is a cheat code. I'm sorry for any dude who is on Tinder trying to and they're under 6 foot. You're screwed. Okay, just stop now.
It's unfair. No, that's not right. But yeah, so work's been very busy. Can't complain about that. It's good to be busy. And I can't wait to come visit you, Dewey, and we can go to Tail of the Dragon with the BRZ TS. That would be lovely.
Yes. My front tires are trashed, and I need something's clunking around in the front of my BRZ. I got to sort that out. And we'll figure it out.
Oh, we should go visit those oil guys in Memphis too. That would be a good time.
That would be fun. So, yes, Tail of the Dragon. We're gonna set something up. I'm gonna make sure the podcast knows, and all you people in here will know when we're gonna set that up, and it'll be kind of an open invite. Okay. There might be some pirate rules involved. You got to make it there and you got to make it back on your own, and we'll give you a basic idea of where we're staying. We'll come up with something, but it'll be a good time. We'll all try to meet up and have a good time. We're trying to set that up. Bear with us. I guess let's open the floor up to anybody who's got any questions. And, we can go from there. Didn't Mr. Aldrich want to come on and say something? Is he going to raise his hand? Is he going to be the guy? Media's saying stuff. Man, I'm telling you, it'd be a good time. Tanner, I'm serious. You really should come out. I think you'd love it. It's just the environment's wild, dude. Like if you've never been, people call it Forza Horizon in real life. It's the best way of putting it. It's crazy. Buying a new turbo for my FD. Currently have an SXE now. Debating over an EFR. Any experience with the SXE or EFR turbos? I got plenty of experience with SXE to EFR. I haven't went from an SXE to an EFR, but I've got a lot of experience with an EFR. Now, I want to preface this with I am sponsored by Garrett. Okay. I went from my 8474 to a Garrett G39 or G30 1050, and I love it. Okay. But for track use, is the EFR worth the swap? Absolutely. For drag use, no. The EFR is incredible in its response. And once again, I'm sponsored by Garrett. Want to be upfront with that. I will go as far as to say that my EFR actually responded a little bit faster than my Garrett did. But my Garrett overall has been a better turbo for me, and it's doing it as a single scroll versus a twin scroll. And it's doing it with a lot less back pressure. And there's way too many advantages to my Garrett. But I think for the right, I think you're splitting hairs. Okay. They're great. I think you'll love an EFR. They're great. How do you raise your hand on the phone? I don't remember. I don't know. I think it's up in the corner, maybe? I don't know. There's a way to do it. Oh, okay. Somebody else put it down there. Mr. Aldrich. Invite to speak. All right, here he comes. It's happening or not? I hit the invite button. You have to accept it. There he is.
My bad. Am I heard?
You are heard.
Man is heard.
Fantastic. How's everybody doing?
I'm all right.
All right.
Yeah. So, I just posted a little photo into the chat there. That is the fitting that I got for, where the OEM Modine feeds, coolant into the little oil heater there next to the oil filter.
Yeah.
So that's what that's for.
That's cute.
Yeah. So we're going to do a little trickery with that. Figure why plug it up?
I don't know, man. With all the shenanigans that you just had with coolant, with all the shenanigans you just dealt with coolant, if it were me and I were in your situation, I'd want to keep it as simple as possible. But what the hell do I know?
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't like simple.
What? So, yeah.
I think initial start we might go pretty much to the basics, and then once we get everything running and broken and everything like that, that's when we'll do the wild stuff. And
there you go.
Yeah, but yeah, really had nothing else to say.
Drew says hello and is mad you're not saying hello back.
Who is? I'm
Drew.
I had to bounce out of the chat.
Drew is saying, just say something. Just say hello.
Hello.
There you go. See, it's nice when you're actually on stage. Anybody can hop on stage if you want. You just have to request. You raise your hand in the chat. We can bring you up. You can say some stuff. But how's the project coming, man? You've been a long-time listener, and we've been helping you guys out over here a bunch. But, how's it coming along? You got a time frame of when you're going to fire that thing up?
I would say, well, I shared with you the post on my header tank, swirl pod, overflow. That should be being shipped to me. Probably I'll have that next week.
Yep.
The engine's here on the stand. I'm waiting for my valve covers so I can throw it back into the car. I just don't want to clatter the head off of the frame rail getting it in. So
cool.
They're off being cleaned and repowder coated. I got to reseal the oil pan with the little gasket you sent me. Torque the flywheel bolts, drop that in, and then it's off over to my welder to have everything fabbed up. I cut the core support and everything off, so we're going to go like a tubular from basically the apron.
Okay, so you should be up, I don't know, later tonight, about 2 hours in, right?
No, I'm thinking I gotta wait for my welder to get some piece of shit WRX out of his garage that has been there for a little bit too long.
If it were
And
Dylan, it'd be done in 2
a
hours.
Street Outlaws car too, and that guy should be coming down to pick that up shortly. So,
Oh man, well, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. Fuel Lab's
absolutely.
coming Saturday. Thank God. I am so sorry for anybody who has hit me up waiting for Fuel Lab pumps and they're not finally showing up.
Yeah.
They
I was
had
talking to them yesterday.
that was
so
rough.
they should be
They're
coming
good
now
dudes
this
over there, but
week.
man, they're trying.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. Well, stay in touch.
Sounds good.
All right, see you, buddy. Mr. Johnny Trans, what's up, buddy?
Hello, guys. Hello.
How are you? What's going on?
Hey, Johnny.
I'm just hanging
Long
out here.
time listener. Never mind.
Yeah, no.
Long-time listener,
Yeah,
first-time caller.
yeah. First-time caller. I'm over here building a 06 WRX transmission, and
Okay.
I've taken the good parts out of two of them and building one.
Yeah. So nobody's spending real money on that, right?
No, nobody's spending real money.
Okay, that's good. I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't be getting paid. I'm trying to say at this point, why are people still trying to modify 5-speeds?
Yeah, well, this one is just I think it ran low on oil or it got towed improperly and it melted the viscous out of it.
That'll do her.
Yep.
Gross,
So-
but you're doing God's work. Keeping
Doing
Subarus
God's
alive.
work. So I want to have you on in the not too distant future, and we'll just have a trans talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's something I want to do in the future. So stay tuned for that. I got a few different topics I want to talk about on that. So let's try to plan something out. Maybe in the next 2 weeks. Let me see what my guy who was supposed to talk today wanted, like what his schedule is, and if we'll try to like just offset it from whatever he's trying to do. I really want to get him on because man, it's going to be some spicy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no big deal. If you just want to hit me up on Facebook Messenger like half an hour before, I can come on whenever.
That's what's up. You see, last minute bros, I appreciate that. You're a hell of a guy. You know, I'll let you know. I really appreciate that, dude.
Cool.
All right. See you, bud.
Bye.
All right. Anybody else want to call in? A nice passable trans. Yeah, that's pretty much what he's doing. Is just putting something together. I love seeing Colin in there too. We used Colin's a great guy. He got into Time Attack a little bit last year. Went to his first track day at Heartlands. Then they closed Heartlands on him. Poor guy. Can I talk about brake upgrades? I mean, sure, you can talk about anything you want. You can come in here. I can chat about brake upgrades for a few minutes. You want on? Yeah, okay. Here, I'll invite you on. I'd love to have you, Mr. Halka. I would love to have you. I just can't find the thing to... There you go. Invite to speak. Mr. Halka, how you been, buddy?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you moved down to Alabama recently, right?
Yeah, I just instructed for a Porsche Club event here at Barber. That was very interesting.
Dude, Barber's great, right?
Excellent.
Well, the funny thing is I'm like looking at my times from when I drove my dad's car at Grid Life here, you know, like 300 wheel horsepower GC. And I'm like, so this GT4 Cup car is running about the same lap times.
Yep.
But,
Not everybody's a nut job.
But
Some people.
I wanted to make a post about this because I don't know why this keeps annoying me, but GRWRX, right? Like that's what I have. And
Yes.
I feel like I have done every brake upgrade you can do up to a certain point and done all the different levels of that, right? Like you got the sliding calipers,
Yeah.
you can replace the brake pads, you can replace the rotors, and then you're like, all right, what's the next step after that? And then you go to, let's say, like the FHI 4-pot, 2-pot setup, and then you can upgrade the pads and upgrade the rotors, and then you can go to like STI Brembos, and then you can go to STI 6-pot Brembos, and I feel like I've done almost all of that stuff, and I just get so like annoyed when people online are saying like, oh man, it's such a huge upgrade going to like, you know, this or that or something. And I feel like I tried all of that stuff. And the number one thing that I guess I wanted to say is I feel like the FHI 4-pot calipers are not really an upgrade for stuff that has sliding calipers. I don't know.
Hot take. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You're right.
The problem, I was like, oh God, are you going to tell me I'm stupid? Cool.
No, you're 100% right. And if you even look at it, the pad surface isn't much larger either. Like the rotor's not getting any bigger. The pad surface isn't anymore.
Rotor. It's the same rotor. It's the same pad surface for the most part. Now, people will be like, oh, well, your rear rotors are bigger. And I'm like, yeah, they are. And you also use no rear brake on these cars.
That isn't, it might change the bias a little bit. And there's an argument to be made that maybe in a GC it was a little more of an upgrade when cars were a little lighter and cars were a little slower. And then there's also another sect of people who what they're doing is taking their STI Brembos and putting those on and using them for like a gravel setup. And that might work out good. Okay, because they can put 15-inch wheels and stuff over it. Cool. If you have some reason you need to put 15-inch wheels over your if that, you will know if you need that setup. But if you're somebody with a sliding caliper WRX and you think putting 2-pot, 4-pots on your car is going to help you stop better, you're wrong.
Well, the other thing too is I love it when people say braking performance or even the words stop better, right? And I'm like, let's see. Do you think that if you put, let's say even the 6-pot calipers on a GR WRX versus a completely stock sliding caliper, same tires, do you think it's going to stop faster? Because I'm pretty sure it's not, which is evident by the fact that the GR STI stopped in a longer distance than the WRX when they tested it. And
this is just it. Is it going to stop faster? No. Okay. There's a few different reasons for that, but really what it comes down to is
tires.
That's going to have more to do with tires and the brake compound. Even the weight of the car, if we're talking about the GR versus the WRX.
That's one big piece of it is that upgrade, let's say from STI, the Brembos, the 4 pistons versus the sliding calipers, it was not enough of an upgrade to make up for the 200 pounds of additional weight or whatever it is.
But now let's take one more step. Okay. Now you're talking something with a bit more fluid. It's pinching on both sides, yada, yada, yada. If you were to make those same stops repeatedly, that Brembo is going to do better.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That initial, I'm on the street and I want to stop before I run over a little old lady, the WRX stock, there's a very good chance it will stop faster than the STI stock, entirely due to weight.
Well, right, and it does in all the testing. If you look at like Motor Trend or whatever, and I wanted to talk about this since you talked about all these different upgrades for cars because you see a lot of people say, I want to upgrade my brakes. What do you guys think about this? And they'll post some kit on there that's like drilled slotted rotors with some upgraded pads or something, right? And everyone's like, oh yeah, it feels so much better. And I'm like, you realize that's going to do literally nothing, right? You could take one car with that kit and one car with completely OEM everything, and they're going to stop in the exact same distance, or maybe even worse on the upgraded one.
In some of them, yeah. No, I do believe that a set of pads, especially for that initial stop, a set of pads that have got some pretty good bite, and maybe even to some degree, if the car's got some mileage on it, a stainless steel line, like a braided line, and and some good fluid, should this is an analog thing, should outperform the OEM car. Okay, it should, with a better pad, even on OEM rotors. Rotors are one of those people think slotted rotors or whatever, they're going to help a ton. That's not necessarily how it works.
Yeah, I agree.
And then another thing is like you throw on some full on. I know you've driven some track pads. Some track pads have to have heat in them before they do a damn thing. You'd be better off with AutoZone specials, for that first initial hit.
I feel like people think I'm trolling, but I say that all the time. People are like, what brake pad should I get? And I'm like, AutoZone Duralast Golds, because they have unlimited replacements. So when the pad gets down to the backing plate, you take them there and get a free one. and you're going to have less brake dust. And when people put these really aggressive pads in their cars, if the car's not warmed up and you haven't warmed up the brakes, it's probably going to stop
trashing rotors.
Yeah.
You're just trashing rotors, and I totally agree with you. Brake understanding is at maybe an all-time low right now.
Yeah.
Sean Condon brought up something too, especially with drilled rotors. Drilled rotors, especially cheap drilled rotors, there's a very good chance they're just going to crack when you get a bunch of heat into them. Do not take those things on track. You do not want drilled rotors on track. Drilled rotors were something that back in the day, brake pads used to get hot and they would gas. And the drilling of the rotor was to give an escape for that gas. And then it kind of became a fashion thing. Okay, modern day brake pads don't do that. So like there's really no reason for drilled rotors. So all right. That's do you feel like did you vent enough? You feel good?
Yes, I just think I think that if people want their brakes to look cooler, they can admit that, and then we can all say, fine, yeah, they look cooler. But
yeah, by all means.
But the whole I'm going to upgrade my brakes thing is one of the most backward things that I see people doing online, and it needs to stop, because maybe we would get people maintaining these cars better, putting in humble rumble kits or putting in new bushings or something, instead of just throwing money.
I truly believe that money could be spent in better ways. Yes.
But that's my soapbox. Thank you for having me on.
I love you.
All right.
I usually don't complain about stuff, but what Josh just said is so prevalent even in the new community, because guess what?
No, it totally is.
People that have been saying this whole time about like, oh, well, I don't like the OEM brakes, I just got to get a bigger brake kit. It's now transcending from the last generation now to the new generation, because all they believe is, well, I just need to get STI calibers and I'll be fine. But they don't understand that the OEM brakes are fine. It's just when these reviewers post these numbers, well, yeah, like it stopped 100 to 0 and like 136, feet or whatever. They don't talk about what that brake pad feels like when you put your foot down. And that's what a lot of people think, that the feeling of your foot on that brake pad is what is stopping faster, because theoretically the stopping is happening sooner, but it's not stopping like faster, I guess you could say. Because I had the same issue with mine. I had OEM pads on my 22WRX, and I actually almost got into an accident because what I was accustomed to from my old Jetta, which I slightly tapped the pad, like I slightly tapped the brakes, the car started stopping immediately.
That initial bite is different, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're coming to a stop faster.
Exactly. It makes you think that you're not, because, well, it's like, well, look how much foot I had to put down to get this car to stop. I had the same experience. I didn't have that experience on my 21WRX, which is weird because I thought that they used similar brake pads. I didn't think that they changed it. But even now, people will, every other day in the 22WRX Facebook group, people will be asking, oh man, should I get STI brake calipers because I want to stop faster? And one of my questions to these people is like, are you going somewhere other than the street? 9 out of 10 times, the answer is no. I'm just running EBCs. I just changed the oil and I'm just running EBC yellows. And for me, it sucks on the street, but it was more than enough for an average person in autocross or track days. And I'll be honest, I am probably even below average. And I know that a lot of these other guys are about in the same boat. And just throwing STI calipers on there, getting bigger brake kits or whatever, which are very expensive. Like these people are dropping like $3,000 to $4,000 on brakes. And it bothers me because I know, obviously, if they have infinite amount of money, that's a different story. But it's like you could buy so many other things for $4,000 that would have more of an impact on your driving, especially your daily driving.
If people want to stop faster, 9 times out of 10, if your goal is I want to stop quicker, put better tires on the car.
Better tires, exactly. That was the biggest change that I felt, because I took my VB to a track day with stock brakes, stock fluid, and stock tires.
Yeah,
100%. Then I went back and I had stock tires and stock brakes and brand new tires. That was a bigger difference from when I went the time after that with the tires and the EBC brakes. Now, the thing that was nice about the EBCs was they just, I think I went more laps before the brakes gave out. That was the big difference.
Well,
Whereas,
they
like, the
that's different compounds are going to react differently. Okay, yellows will hold a little more heat than your typical everyday street pad. They also wear pretty quick too, so make sure you keep an eye on that. Again,
and the
this
brake
is
dust
coming
is
from
ridiculous.
somebody. I am sponsored by EBC, so I want to throw that out there, and I will be the first to tell you they wear really quick. But no, I totally agree with you. Let me get to Y Spec Auto here, see what he wants to chat about real quick, and then I think we're gonna kill it. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Later, bud.
How's it going, guys?
What up, man? How are you?
Hey, not much. Just driving, getting out of work. So my understanding here, making this real quick.
Sure.
I have a GR WRX, right?
Yes.
And
what
I'm
year?
a 13.
Okay.
All right. So I'm better off, if I'm understanding correctly, I'm better off doing a 6-speed on it, the poor man way, instead of going with the STI full on calipers and all that stuff, unless I am tracking the car.
Unless you're tracking the car, or you really want the look, or you're trying to go to 5x114s, for wheel types or whatever. Yeah, honestly, you could poor man swap that, and if you're just using it on the street, it's gonna hold all the power you need. Okay. Now hold on. There's some caveats to this.
Got it.
You 6-speed swap it. You're still on WRX axles. Okay. And you're still on an R160 rear diff. Now they I haven't checked in a while, but I'm pretty sure Drive Shaft Shop still makes you could put an R180 rear diff in, and they make an adapter axle for the rear. I think you'd be okay. Actually, I think the GR uses the same axles. Yeah, you could still do the poor man swap though, and you wouldn't have any issues with that.
No shit.
And then you can keep your same wheel tire, your same suspension, all of that noise without having to even think about it. Okay. And as far as stopping distance, your first time you hit the brakes, it's going to be the same. Now, the second time you hit the brakes, it's a different story. Now, I'm also going to throw a caveat out there. Let's say you're some broho who likes to go to Mexico all the time. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
They're doing big pulls, Mexico shit. All right. And I will say that if you're hitting the brakes at $1.50 with a sliding caliper versus hitting the brakes at $1.50 with an STI Brembo, the Brembo will probably stop faster because the amount of time it's going to take for it to slow down, heat is going to start to become an issue.
Got it.
Okay, so but if you're just a dude broing around on the street and you're okay with the current braking performance you have, you may be better off with a set of tires and, maybe a pad. You don't got to go crazy. You don't got to go crazy.
Well, sounds like you answered my question perfectly, man. Thank you so much for letting me jump on this. And have a good day, guys.
Oh, thanks, dude. Hop on anytime.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Adios.
Man, we actually got call-ins today. I love call-ins. I want more call-ins. More call-ins! I want more of that. I love it.
It's a great idea.
We need to do more of that. More of that. That is fun. I wish we could just do episodes nonstop of nothing. It was just Ask Dewey, and you guys just ask questions the whole time.
That's a great idea. We could do it next week.
That's what I've always wanted to do, but the problem is you get a lot of people who are a little weird about coming up on. Maybe if they hear this, they'll feel a little better about it. This is how I've always wanted to treat it, though. Long time listener, first time caller, just calling in. Hey, my girlfriend says that my car drives to like shit. I don't know. I love that stuff. I love it.
Oh, it's a great idea.
I love it. I love it. More of that. I was nervous. No, what are you nervous about? We're just a bunch of bros, dude. There's all a bunch of bros hanging out, plus Stephanie and Beth. I don't even think Beth's in here right now. Stephanie's a bro too. Whatever. Let's be real. She's one of us. We're all a bunch of stupid dudes messing with stupid cars because we're all stupid. I love this. Honestly, it's one of my favorite things. But I don't know. To me, I feel like that's very community oriented. So hopefully this episode recorded the right way. I'm skeptical. This might take a little bit longer to upload.
Crashes. Yeah.
So we'll see. Jordan's gonna sort this out for us, and we're gonna go from there. So let's Stephanie had a wastegate dump tube fall on her face, so she's a part of the club. I agree. Once you've been stabbed by your wastegate dump tube, you're just in. But like I say every time, it's been fun. Or it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. And we will see you next week with maybe a drama-filled episode. Man, I hope that goes through. If not, maybe we'll have the trans guy, Johnny Trans, on here, and we'll chat about that. That could be fun too. So he's got the tea. Either way, yeah. Again, we'll see you next week. Tax sale ends Monday. Get the hell on it. That's no joke. That's not like, haha, no, it is 100% drop dead Monday. You call me Tuesday, I'm not giving you the pricing. Sorry. I will
fight you in public.
I will fight you in public. Okay. Love you. Bye.